Hello and welcome to it. You're watching eNews Direct. I'm Duduzile Ramila. Here are the stories we're tracking for you this evening. The Democratic Alliance again fails in Parliament to remove President Jacob Zuma. The National Energy Regulator approves an Eskom tariff hike of 9.4%. To comment on any of our stories, do find us on Twitter and Facebook. That's at eNews Direct. Our hashtags this evening, No Confidence and NERSA. And the Democratic Alliance has again failed to remove President Jacob Zuma. The party's motion of no confidence was debated in Parliament this afternoon. It follows the president's decision to axe Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene late last year. The move sent both the rand and stocks into freefall.
In calling for a vote of no confidence in President Jacob Zuma, opposition leader Mmusi Maimane says Zuma is destroying the dreams of millions of South Africans.
Every single one of the 8.2 million unemployed citizens in our country feels a sense of betrayal. They once had big dreams, dreams that diminish with every day the president remains in office.
Maimane asked members of parliament to think about what is in the best interests of South Africa before voting to support Zuma.
Our duty today is to remove the man who's done so much to sell out our people. You owe it to your country to support this motion today.
The ANC hit back, saying the motion demonstrates the opposition's lack of understanding of the Constitution.
We need, as a matter of extreme urgency, constitutional literacy classes for the DA.
Mutshekga also dismissed the motion as a fantasy.
Honorable Pastor Maimane, your members are coming with pipe dreams that there will be a motion that will be carried. Not in my lifetime, not in this parliament will that happen.
The eNCA Freedom Party has also called the motion a futile exercise.
Again and again, the ruling party has used its majority to shut down voices of opposition, to protect the president and get his way. Now, so why today's exercise will achieve anything different?
At the end, the ANC majority in Parliament voted against the motion of no confidence, meaning President Zuma is safe.
And staying on matters on the president, the North Gauteng High Court is deciding whether Jacob Zuma should have been prosecuted for alleged corruption linked to the arms deal. The charges were dropped in 2009. However, the Democratic Alliance is applying to have them reinstated based on the so-called spy tape recordings. The tapes contain information that allegedly show political interference and manipulation in the National Prosecuting Authority's decision to drop the charges. The DA says it's confident it'll win the case, but the presidency says the party is trying to push a political agenda. To focus on to other news now, and you're about to pay a bit more for your electricity usage. That's after the National Energy Regulator, NERSA, approved Eskom's tariff increase application. It may not feel like it on your pocket, but it's actually a kind of reprieve. The approved 9.4% increase amounts to half of what the power utility had requested.
Prepare to dig deep to keep the lights on.
The average tariff for standard tariff customers be increased by 9.4% for the 2016-2017 financial year only.
But it could have been worse had Eskom been allowed to collect from customers the full 22.8 billion rand it wanted.
We gave them 11.2 billion. Okay, and that equates to about just less than half. So you are correct that we're giving them half of what they asked for. They had asked for 11.7 billion in additional revenue. We gave them 6 billion.
The regulator was also unsympathetic to Eskom's controversial use of expensive diesel to generate power in times of supply shortages. Of the 8 billion rand the utility wanted to recover from that system, NERSA is only allowing it to get 1.2 billion rand from customers.
There is a limit to what you can do with the price. And I think we've reached that limit, and to simply burden the user of electricity all the time, year after year after year, is not sustainable.
In a statement, Eskom CEO Brian Molefe says NERSA's decision doesn't address the utility's continued financial sustainability and warns it will have operational consequences. He also suggests the decision to not allow Eskom to recoup the diesel costs will in future directly affect the utility's response to load shedding.
A distraught Cape Town mother is trying to come to terms with the death of her son during a smash-and-grab robbery. He was shot and killed yesterday, but there's confusion over who actually pulled the trigger. Some reports say it was the victim, while the alleged robber's mother has been told a different version.
Jake's Gerwel Drive is one of Cape Town's smash-and-grab hotspots. Police are now investigating the latest incident that happened near this spot.
16-year-old Sipesihle Mkhunqwana was shot dead while allegedly attempting to rob a woman motorist. She immediately drove to the nearest police station to report the incident. But the teen's grieving mother says the motorist wasn't the shooter. She's met 2 other suspects who were with her son at the time.
These kids are saying that he smashed that woman's car window and grabbed her bag. They say he turned around as he was about to make a run for it. He got shot by someone in the taxi behind the vehicle he was robbing.
Siswana admits her son had a criminal record. She says the family tried everything to turn his life around.
He wouldn't say why he did the bad things he did out there. He would come back and tell me that he is quitting. His criminal behavior started when he became part of a gang, but he told me he quit and wanted to go back to school.
A Facebook group has shown support for the woman motorist. At least 190 smash and grabs were reported in the area last year.
What happened yesterday must be a wake-up call for the authorities to say to them that people are fed up. People are facing these things every day, every minute of the day. And it seems the authorities is not doing anything. That's why people start to say that we will do things for ourselves.
Police are investigating cases of murder and robbery. No arrests have yet been made. Tim Tongana, Cape Town.
Let's take a quick look at other local news. The North Gauteng High Court has reserved judgment in the latest parole bid by Chris Hani's killer. Janusz Wallace assassinated the Communist Party leader in 1993. The Justice Minister denied Wallace parole in April last year. He has been behind bars for nearly 23 years. Let's take a look at international headlines. Today has been a huge day in the U.S. presidential race. Frontrunners Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump have been campaigning in over a dozen states where voting is taking place. Now, if they win the crucial Super Tuesday primary contest, they could have an unreachable lead over their party rivals. Trump's rally was disrupted when a news photographer got into a tussle with U.S. Secret Service agents. The photographer claims he was assaulted after stepping in a few centimeters out of the press pen. The fragile truce in Syria is in danger of collapsing as fighting has intensified. The main opposition force is blaming government troops of renewing attacks. The cessation of hostilities drawn up by the US and Russia is meant to allow peace talks to resume and aid to reach besieged communities. And in what could be a first, a Google driverless car is believed to have caused an accident while traveling in autonomous mode. Google says it bears some responsibility after the car crashed into a municipal bus earlier this month. The driverless cars have been involved in more than a dozen other collisions, but in most cases, the vehicles were rear-ended. Let's see what's hot on social media now, and no real surprises that tempers flared in Parliament this afternoon as the DA called for a vote of no confidence in President Jacob Zuma. Many on Twitter saying it was a pointless exercise, and it seems they were right. MPs overwhelmingly voting against that motion. Energy matters. The National Energy Regulator felt the anger of many South Africans on Twitter today as they approved a 9.4% tariff increase for Eskom. Some saying that if Eskom improved its services by 9.4%, they would happily pay. If you've missed any of the mudsliding in Parliament today, you can go and catch up on eNCA.com/direct. Money matters now, and South Africa's 2015 fourth quarter growth was higher than expected, but only marginally. Stats SA says gross domestic product came in at 0.6% year on year. That's just slightly above expectations of 0.5%. Finance, real estate and business services were among the main contributors, but Stats SA says the increase is much too slow to fix the country's 24.5% unemployment rate. Falling demand for commodities continued to weigh heavily on the mining-focused economy. The agriculture, forestry and fishing, as well as manufacturing industries, did not perform well either. The drought will place further pressure on the economy, and the country is facing a tough year with GDP growth expected to be under a percentage point. Absa has sought to reassure customers that it won't be affected by Barclays' withdrawal from Africa. That's following an announcement that Barclays PLC would sell its 62.3% stake in Barclays Africa, which is known as Absa in South Africa. According to the announcement, the process would take 2 to 3 years. Barclays Africa boss Maria Ramos says the bank is independently listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. And with a balance sheet of over R1 trillion, its future remains bright. Ramos says Barclays Africa remains the continent's leading bank and will not be negatively affected by the withdrawal announcement. And with that, let's see how the markets performed today. Let's check in with the Weather Centre now. Here's Candice.
Welcome to the Weather Centre on Tuesday evening. We're expecting some rain along the east coast on Wednesday with a hot and humid day, particularly for the Lowveld and the Limpopo Valley. It'll be a hot day with isolated thundershowers over the northeastern and eastern parts. A cold front moves to the south of us, bringing in some cloud over the southern part of South Africa. And then dry, hot and windy conditions result in a high fire danger rating over the interior part of the Northern Cape. You'll see a warm to hot day for KwaZulu-Natal with most highs in the low 30s. We're forecasting rain along the coast with thundershowers as we head further inland, as well as over the northern part of the Eastern Cape. Dry and mostly sunny as we head towards the coast with a warm Wednesday in store. Fine and hot for Graaff-Reinet at 34 degrees. We can expect a similar day for Oudtshoorn and Beaufort West, both at 34. Sunny over the interior part of the Western Cape with a partly cloudy and warm day along the coast. Cape Town and Longabon at around 30 degrees. A toasty afternoon is in store for Uppington and Prieska, both at around 40, with that warning for a high fire danger rating. You'll see thundershowers mainly for Bethlehem and Harrismith at 29 degrees, with a dry day for the rest of the province. Mostly sunny and hot for Vryburg at 35, with isolated thundershowers for the rest of the northwest. We're also expecting thundershowers for the majority of Limpopo, except over the northern and eastern parts, where we can expect a hot and humid day for the Lowveld as well as the Limpopo Valley. Bombela tops 33 degrees with isolated thundershowers for much of Mpumalanga, 28 degrees for eMakhazeni and Ermelo. It'll be another hot day for Gauteng with highs into the 30s and the possibility of afternoon and evening isolated thundershowers. On Thursday, we're still forecasting thundershowers for Gauteng and the northwest with rain for Bombela, and then you'll see that hot weather returning over the eastern part of the country on Friday with a predominantly sunny and warm to hot day for the rest of South Africa, and we'll see thundershowers over the central and northeastern parts. That's all from the Weather Centre for now. Have a great night.
Thank you, Candice. With the world's top polo players heading to South Africa, we find out what it takes to become a champion in the sport of kings. Those details after this. Welcome back. Some of the world's top polo players are heading to Polo in the Western Cape this weekend.
They are indeed. They're competing in the 6th annual Verve Clicquot Masters Polo Tournament.
Our intrepid reporter Tanya Neft finds out what it's like to take up the challenge.
It's been dubbed the sport of kings. from Prince Harry.
And no surprise with British royalty like Prince Harry mastering the centuries-old equestrian sport. With the highly anticipated Masters Polo tournament around the corner, one of South Africa's top polo coaches gives some pointers on what it takes to be a top player.
You need to be right-handed to play polo, so you're going to hold the reins with your left-hand side, and unlike normal riding, you now will neck rein. So because you've only got one hand, this polo pony will turn left or right because of your instruction here. And you will then be holding the stick in your right hand. I need you to put your hand out like flat. You're going to come back with your back swing. Stationary horse, you're going to come down with that mallet.
Well done.
But it's not just about chasing a ball on horseback with a long stick.
Cost aside, you're looking at somebody who is sporty, who's got an eye-ball coordination, hopefully can ride, and is very enthusiastic.
With 24 local and international players participating, how does it all work?
You've got 4 players per side. You've got 2, number 1, number 2, which are obviously the ones that normally score the goals, and then your 2 backs, your 3 and your 4.
This has truly been an incredible experience. Champion has certainly lived up to her name. She's been a complete champion. Kevin has made me feel so safe, and I can honestly say that this is perhaps a sport that all of us can try. If I can do it, you certainly can. Tanya Neft, Valdevi, Paul.
A reminder of the day's top stories before we say goodbye. The Democratic Alliance fails again in Parliament to remove President Jacob Zuma. The National Energy Regulator approves an Eskom tariff hike of 9.4%. And that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
It is indeed. We're back same time tomorrow. Up next, Rhythm City.
Remember, though, you can share your views with us. Do send us an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or just talk to us on Twitter and Facebook, and our handle is @eNewsDirect.
Until tomorrow night, have a fantastic evening. Bye-bye.